Welcome to the Registered Investment Advisor Podcast, where financial services marketing expert Seth Greene interviews experts, executives, and top producers to share can't-miss tips on how they successfully manage their financial service firms, grow their businesses, create great relationships, and influence the industry. And now, here's your host, Seth Greene.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be interviewing Brian Colvert from Bonfire Financial. Brian, thanks so much for joining us.
No, thank you. Glad to be on the show.
All right, let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get started in the financial services industry?
So I got actually started back in 2007. And back then I was actually selling copiers back in San Diego. And my father was in the industry at times, and we would talk about what we were doing, what we were up to, and his industry sounded way funner than talking about copiers and dealing with clients and helping them. So it intrigued me, and so did a couple interviews with a few other advisors, liked what I heard, and decided to take a leap and see if I could get it done.
All right. Well, congratulations on that. Who is an ideal client for you?
I would say anyone who is either preparing for or right about to get into retirement. So, I don't exactly know if there's like a baby boomer generation or something like that, but kind of in that, I guess, almost Gen X way, if you will. But someone who is right before there, who is looking to plan and wanting to have a plan as far as how they're going to live off their assets.
And then what are some of the most common issues those folks are having that you're helping them solve?
The biggest one is the confidence around whether they're going to be able to create the income that their job has and to basically maintain their lifestyle that they currently live in, if you will. I think it's the biggest concern, especially given the market this year. But even any year, I think anyone making that transition worries about it. And so the biggest thing we do is help provide that confidence and security around it.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Now, you originally got a degree in public administration. How did you go from that to selling copiers?
Well, I was selling copiers at the same time. So
it was helping pay your way through school.
Yes. So it worked out well. And, it was a ton of fun living in Southern California, selling copiers. I mean, honestly, that might be weird, but I thought it was great.
Awesome. And then let's talk a little bit about, you are a lifelong learner. Tell me about the certificate you've got in blockchain and digital assets.
No, so obviously, digital currencies are new. They're interesting. They're volatile as anything. And so, I mean, it's definitely intriguing. Clients were asking about it. I was interested in it. And so I wanted to find a program to learn more. Obviously, I've read a couple books on it, and I found, a digital program, if you will, where you could get certified. And it was a whole, I think it was a 12 module course in regards to how it works, how it's created, kind of the bang for buck, if you will, is where is it going to go from here, and what are kind of some of the advantages as the technology advances and improves, and how do all of these different coins kind of play in, and how does Bitcoin work and blockchain work? And it was I enjoyed it. So it was a one nice course to have, and I'm happy they actually provided it.
And I would imagine that helps you keep up with what's going on in the world and have those conversations with clients, right?
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely does help. I mean, I would say it's moving very fast. So just that course, I don't think does it justice just based on how quickly it moves. But I would say it is definitely beneficial to have.
And then on the personal side, you're involved in swimming, biking, triathlon. You're ranked nationally among the U.S. Masters swimmers. How do you find time for it all?
That's a good question. I mean, honestly, I just focus on what is important to me, right? So being athletic, and, working out is something that I find very helpful. I've been doing it for years now, but, normally, I take the lunch hour off and go swim for an hour with some friends. And, sometimes the day's going crazy, the market's going crazy, and I'm like, man, I shouldn't go. I should get this done. But I will tell you that the mental relief I get from going there is worth it, because I think it helps me hit it harder in the afternoon. So it's just been one of those things that's been conditioned in myself to keep it going and find the time for it.
That makes a lot of sense. I am certainly the stress relief alone and the centering and turning the other noise off in your head. Absolutely worth it. Those folks who are nearing retirement, how are they finding you?
So they find me a couple ways. Obviously, I could say the old fashioned, referral. We do get those quite a bit. We also have partnered with some CPAs that we have relationships with that we advertise through. And so we get some through that, obviously our clients. And then honestly, I built the business kind of the old fashioned way of cold calling, picking up the phone and smiling and dialing business owners. And we still do that. I still have an advisor that works for me that still cold calls every single day. And so we build our business that way. It works. And then obviously we're getting more online. So we do have a few people who come off that, but it is more of an outreach than it is the phone rings for us.
Got it. Now, you've been doing this a long time. You've achieved a decent amount of success. What's your biggest challenge now?
Well, honestly, probably the time, right? And so that's right now I'm currently looking for some new staff members, things like that, because I have to delegate and expand so we can keep providing the level of service I want for our clients. So I'd say that's probably the biggest challenge, is letting a few things go that I enjoy dealing with, but obviously it needs to happen.
Yes. How did COVID affect your business?
Honestly, I mean, it wasn't horrible as far as the market. The market was terrible. Let's not change that. But we've made a few changes as far as where we were doing mostly remote meetings. So I mean, that was probably the biggest change. But honestly, we still, still coming into the office just because we were here and all of our offices are separate. So we were kind of segregated anyways. So it worked out quite well. And I was able to actually do quite a bit of work. If I was at home, my son would have thought that I was a play toy and we needed to play all the time. So it just it worked out pretty well to keep the schedule somewhat, we'll say, the same.
Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
I hate to be cliche, but it's helping the clients, right? I mean, it's the fact of seeing someone retire, the fact of being able to see someone, take a trip with their family across the world. It's those fun things, right? Where you actually get to see someone, having a sense of relief and enjoying what they work so hard for. It's, that's fun.
What's next on your learning docket? What you did blockchain and digital assets. What do you want to learn about next?
Obviously, I'm always learning as far as the market goes. As far as fixed income is probably, I think, my biggest thing that I'm interested in now, just because of where interest rates are and how much they have affected the bond market this year. So, I mean, I think it's a bigger market than the equities in general. And so just, getting a better grasp of it, I think, is always something anyone can strive for, just based on how vast it is.
If you could go back in time to when you started, what advice would you give your younger self?
But honestly, probably I'd say stop and enjoy it a little more, just because, I mean, I tell people, when you get into this industry from the start, it sucks 3 to 4 years. I mean, there is no way around it. Because the phone doesn't ring normally. So you have to go find the business some way, somehow. And so, being so focused on that, you kind of lose a little bit of the fun that's happening. And so I think I would say, hey, it'll come. Just be patient, keep doing the same things. It'll happen.
That's great advice. For our folks who want to learn more about you and all things Brian, where should they go?
I would probably say our website, Bonfire Financial, is probably the best resource. From there, you can get to all of our social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, but the website's kind of where we put all of our content and where it starts.
Awesome. We know your time's incredibly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending a little bit with us. This has been Seth Greene with Brian Colvert from bonfirefinancial.com. Brian, thanks so much for joining us.
No, thank you. It's been great.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.